Dragon's Dogma 2 is a misunderstood gem of 2024. It released alongside titles such as Palworld, Sons of the Forest, Another Crab's Treasure, Horizon Forbidden West for PC, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, and Final Fantasy VII's Rebirth. These games were all bigger name titles in 2024 than what Dragon's Dogma 2 was. However, the idea of what people thought Dragon's Dogma 2 was going to be versus what it was when it came out were two different realities. People expected something more along the lines of The Witcher 3 or Skyrim type of survival game. However, unlike those games and unlike many other AAA open world RPGs, Dragon's Dogma 2 decided to go into a survival sandbox type with very limited fast travel, weight and stamina, which they implemented very well, where you could see in real time as you pick things up that your carrying capacity was going to need to be managed. Now, when we talk about RPGs and we talk about the health system in most of these games, a lot of the other games, it tends to be where you could just heal to full health. Your maximum health, though, in Dragon's Dogma 2 decreases over time as you take damage. Now, you can rest at a camp or an inn, and this will bring you back to full health. A lot of people also had a lot of problems with how vague the questing was, where it made it feel like there was no story behind the game. It made it feel like the story was very bland. However, another big thing is the microtransactions. At launch, Capcom ended up releasing 21 paid DLC items. However, even though this made people feel like the game was pay to win, these items were very easily found throughout the game. A lot of people didn't know that at the time. A lot of people made it seem like Capcom was just being greedy and they were hiding things behind the paywall, just like EA would, just like other big game titles were. However, Dragon's Dogma played to this very well, because instead of just allowing it to be where it was pay to win, Dragon's Dogma ended up instead making it optional to pay for these items, where you can find these items in-game later on as you progress. There's also a mechanic called Dragon's Plague, where pawns can potentially wipe out an entire city's NPCs and make it to where you can't talk to those NPCs and that you can't interact with them. However, there is a fix to this. There's three different ways that you can cure the Dragon's Plague. One of them being the brine method, which requires you to throw an infected pawn into deep waters, aka the brine. Killing them effectively resets them, which you can then resummon your main pawn from a rift stone and they will be cured. The Eternal Wake Stone is another fix to this. If the plague triggers and wipes out a city, you can use the Eternal Wake Stone to avoid having to kill your pawn. You could also now naturally recover. This was implemented later into the game's life cycle. It was adjusted so that pawns can even recover from the plague naturally without causing a calamity. These things ended up being something that not a lot of other RPG type games were implementing. And on top of that, Dragon's Dogma 2 also implemented the story-driven single-player online type of feel, where you can be able to spawn in, play through your story, but be able to spawn in other people's pawns to help you. A lot of people's concern with Dragon's Dogma in the beginning was mostly due to the microtransactions and the paid DLCs, like stated before, which tended to take away from the systematic chaos of the world. You can be wandering down the world paths and have a griffin just dive bomb you mid trip. Also have giants, trolls, and other things such as goblins. Now, this game also intentionally prioritizes friction and simulation over other modern conveniences found in most AAA games. A lot of AAA games, they like to add map routes. They like to add stuff that makes it very easy. Now, Dragon's Dogma 2 does have map markers where you know where you can go to in the general area. However, it doesn't limit you to just being able to go down one path. You can go down any path that you feel like in this game, and it feels as if you are having fun. It feels as if the game allows you to have your own freedom, whether you choose to go fight a griffin early in the game or you choose to go fight trolls early in the game. It allows you those choices that, honestly, with a lot of AAA games, at least in my opinion, I feel they take away from you. Not only do these AAA games take that choice away from you, they make you follow certain paths that they want you to follow. They make you feel like you're stuck in this one-dimensional box and you're stuck to follow the path that they chose. Now, even with all of these different issues and problems over the years that Dragon Dogma 2 has had, I can say that in my time of playing, in my time of fighting the enemies, in my time of walking around Vermund, that this is one of the better games that I've played. Granted, is it the best? No. Not by any means is it the best game. Is it the most polished? No. Is it the most really anything that you would expect out of a studio in 2024? Probably not. But in all reality, it was a brand new engine they were running this game off of. It was a brand new build that they were building off of. They started from scratch with a whole new build for this game. If you guys have any other opinions on the matter, drop them down in the comment section. And don't forget to like, subscribe,